Hello guys! Today I'm going to talk about the Arttitude Cosmetics Metamorph Eyeshadow Palette. It launched about 1 or 2 weeks ago, but I haven't been able to review it until now because, you know me, I want to try out the product before I say what I feel about it, just so you can get a good idea of how it really performs. Because the thing with makeup is that one day it can perform so good and the next day it can perform so bad. If you just use the product once, you don't know if it will perform good the next time. There is a couple of things that can change the impression of how a product actually performs. First of all, it's of course the formula. Is it good? Is it bad? It can be different formula in different shades, and then it also can be what kind of base you're using or the condition of your skin. It's so many factors that plays a bigger role in how the product is going to perform. I don't think this is any news for you, but I still wanted to explain it for you. I did receive this palette in PR from the brand, but that doesn't change my opinion about the product, of course. I own 2 other palettes since before from the brand. It's the Man-Eater eyeshadow palette and the Obsession eyeshadow palette. As per usual with my reviews, I will show you the looks, the swatches, and then I will of course tell you my thoughts about the palette. Let's roll the clips. Besides the palette, there is also a lot of other products in the collection, but I did only receive the palette. So I will just briefly talk about the products that is in this collection. And I will read from my phone because I can't remember on top of my head. So there is a 19-piece makeup brush set. It's super stunning. It's purple handles and purple brush hairs on the tip, and then there is black on the bottom. Super stunning. I would love to have those brushes in my collection, but I know that I don't need them, so I will try to not get them. And then there is a holographic purple makeup bag, also really stunning. There is 2 highlighters. Both of them are multichromes, but one of them are even more intense multichrome, so it's slightly more expensive than the other ones. I would absolutely love to have these in my collection, and I might pick them up at some point. We will see. And then we have a really exciting product that is new for the brand, and it's their Revival waterproof makeup mixing liquid, and you can do so many different things with this product apparently. I will see. You can first of all revive old dried out brow pomades and gel liners to bring them back to life. And you can also mix it with eyeshadow to create waterproof liquid eyeliner, super cool. And then you can mix it with pigments or loose eyeshadows to get a seamless application and enhance depth of color. And you can also use it as a base for foundation or eyeshadow to lock the makeup in place for longer. And this is the thing that is a really good selling point to me, because I haven't heard about this kind of product before. But the fact that you can use it as a base is really interesting to me. And also that you can mix it to turn lipsticks into blush is also something really new and cool. Yeah, it's just a really fun and cool product. And then there is 3 loose pigments, very beautiful. They are also multichromes. And then lastly but not least, there is a bouncy blender. It's a big pink blender that looks super cool, and I can just imagine how fast it will go when you apply your foundation on your skin. So yeah, this was the whole collection. I think that Rooks, who is the owner of the brand, did such a great job with this collection. I can tell how everything is well planned out, and I'm such a fan of Arttitude Cosmetics. I can't stress that enough because they have such a cool vision with the brand. It's something really fun and playful that I really adore about them. So what I really appreciate about Artittude Cosmetics is that they are thinking out every single little detail in the products. From the outer sleeve, I mean, just look at those gorgeous outcuts in the sleeve. It's so gorgeous, and when you put in the palette you will see how beautiful it looks like that. It's really fancy, really beautiful, and really cute. I normally doesn't keep sleeves most of the time, but for this palette I just have to. And when it comes to the actual cover of the palette, it's super stunning. It's really beautiful artwork by an artist that I can't remember the name of, but I will see if I can put it on the screen if I can find it. Anyway, it's so beautiful that it almost looks like it's AI generated, but the owner did actually post a video where the artist is showing the process of doing the artwork, so that's a big plus. I really love that they hire a real artist, it's such a beautiful artwork overall, and it matches the whole theme of the palette too. So if we are looking at the color story itself, it's actually pretty unique. I can personally not think about any other palette that has a similar color story right now. And I feel like Arttitude Cosmetics is really good at creating unique and still cohesive color stories, and with a lot of depth and beautiful shimmers. And mattes, of course. The palette contains 16 gorgeous eyeshadows. 2 of them are high definition foils, 3 are soft duochromes with a subtle color shift, 9 of them are buttery and easy to blend mattes, and lastly 2 metallic multichromes with an intense color shift. I'm reading from the backside of the eyeshadow palette, just so you know. What I really like about the palette is that it has 4 different textures when it comes to the eyeshadows, and that's something that really can make a palette more versatile, and you can mix and match and create more cool looks, so to say. So the team behind this palette is obviously Butterflies, and I love how the brand is describing it. I will read it word to word so I don't mess it up, because you know I'm not good with talking. So this is what it says on the back of the palette. At first glance, there is nothing about the caterpillar that tells you it's going to transform into a butterfly. Sometimes we have to look deep within ourselves to discover our true potential. Just like the caterpillar itself, sometimes we have to push through the darkness in order to reach the light. Let the butterfly serve as a reminder that it's never too late to transform. And wow! It really is speaking to my heart, those beautiful words. It's so inspiring and so motivating in my opinion, and it makes me like this palette even more. So before I forget it, I just want to mention that the palette has a manufacturer issue, and that is the shade called Pubrid. It's like a very dark, almost matte shade in the palette, but the owner was wanting something more dark purple. I will show it to you. The owner didn't want to waste all the palettes that already was made, so instead she's sending out the single shade just together with the palette when you order it, and I think that's great. I think that's wonderful and a great solution to the problem, because we don't want to contribute to more waste in this world when it is already so much out there. With that being said, I think that the palettes that are being produced after this palette will probably have the correct shade inside the palette, but I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on that. The palettes aren't magnetic, so you can't switch out the shade, but if you're a little bit handy, you can probably pop it out and glue it in if you want to. According to the owner, she didn't feel like the hybrid shade that is in the palette was living up to her expectations, and while I don't see a big issue with the formula, the owner wasn't happy with it. I find that it works perfectly well on the eyes. It is no problem with using it, so I will definitely use it from time to time when I need a really dark shade. But I understand where the vision is coming from. It's not at all the same shade, and I will show you clips with a comparison of the shades. As I mentioned earlier, the formula is really good. It is on par with the other Artitude Cosmetics palettes. I don't notice a big difference. Maybe that the mattes are slightly less pigmented compared to the Obsession palette, but I don't know if that's just in my head or if it's actually a big difference or not. Because on the eyes they perform exactly the same, they are so beautiful. It's more like when I swatched them that I noticed that some of the lighter shade didn't swatch as beautifully as the darker shades and so on. But as I said, I don't notice this issue on my lids. I have had such a blast creating looks with this palette, and it's a really inspiring palette to me. But one issue I have had is that I have been reaching for very similar shades every time, and this is more like a me issue because sometimes when I create looks I want to reach for the colors that I'm feeling that particular day. So I'm not great at planning, but I can promise you I have used all of the shades, even if it maybe doesn't look like it when you see the looks I have been creating with it. I have to say that the mattes are really excellent, they are really blendable, buildable, and the shimmers are just so creamy and nice, they are reflective. Some of the shades are more like toppers and some of them are more opaque. And that's what I prefer in my palettes, so I can pick and choose and mix and match the eyeshadows to get a cohesive look. I think that Arttitude Cosmetics overall has a really good price point on their products. I find that this palette is really reasonable priced. It's about 50.95 euro, and I will put up how much it is in USD and GBP on the screen soon. And you can also get a discount from your favorite creator, maybe me if you want to. I have a code, I will put it on the screen too, and I will put it in the caption too, if you are interested. And there is of course a lot of other codes out there too. I usually don't promote my codes so much in the videos mostly because I forget, but also because I don't want to look like I'm a seller, but I always put them down in the caption if you are looking for a code. And now to the question that most of you probably are thinking: can I dupe this palette? And I will say it like this: it's of course relative depending on the size of your collection and how much different colors you own, and the shades aren't super unique, to be completely honest with you. You can probably dupe the shimmers pretty easily, but I have to say that the mattes are really unique in their tones, and I don't have a lot of those shades in my collection. That is super big for your information. What truly makes this palette special is the combination of the colors together. So I find that if you are into the Arttitude formula, or if you really love the color story, you will most definitely like this palette, I would say. Another big plus with this palette is that it is a great standalone palette for me. You can create neutral looks, you can create soft looks, you can create very bright and bold looks, and you can still have the depth, and you can basically do it all with this palette. And that's the palettes that I'm reaching the most for, because even if I mostly is drawn to the more dramatic looks, I sometimes still want to be able to have the option to create something simple, like what I'm wearing today, for example. And yeah, I think this was all for this video. I hope that you will enjoy it, and please consider to subscribe if you're into indie makeup, colorful makeup, or just want to see me. Bye bye! Or even and person be good. If you what is it called? Wait a second. The palette contains 16. I can't believe I say 16 again. Someday